All right, let's talk about procurement automation. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on this whole world and really break down how it's changing the game for how companies handle their spending.
Okay, so let's get real for a second. Does this sound familiar to you? Your team needs something, say a new software subscription or even just some office supplies. So what happens? You end up drafting an email, you're attaching a quote, maybe you're wrestling with a spreadsheet, and then you just send it off into the void, right? Just crossing your fingers for an approval. For way too many businesses, this is just the daily grind of purchasing.
And that whole reality, that's what we're calling the manual procurement maze. It really is a maze. Before we jump into the solution, it's super important that we understand this chaotic before state. You know, that tangled web of problems that comes with doing things the old-fashioned manual way.
And you know, these headaches, they're not separate problems. They're all tangled together. I mean, think about it. Procurement teams are burning hours just chasing down approvals, all because requests get lost in a sea of emails. Then they're constantly hit with incomplete info, which of course leads to fixing coding mistakes and that endless, frustrating back and forth. The whole thing is just painfully slow. And worse, it swings the door wide open for huge compliance risks and gives the higher-ups basically zero real-time visibility into where the money is actually going.
So, if you boil it down, what's the manual way? It's all driven by email, it's got huge gaps, and it's totally unpredictable. And what does that all add up to? Yep, high risk. Now there has to be a better way, right? We're going to get to that. But first, just hold on to this picture of the problem, because we're about to pivot to a much smarter approach.
Okay, so we've navigated that maze of problems. Now let's talk about the way out, the clear path forward. It's time to introduce a smarter, way more controlled approach, and that is the power of procurement automation. So, what are we actually talking about here? What is it? Well, at its core, procurement automation does one really simple but incredibly powerful thing. It takes all that manual, email-driven chaos and replaces it with structured, rule-based workflows that are built to manage purchasing. That's it. It's all about taking the guesswork and all that tedious manual work completely out of the equation. Okay, that sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the engine here, the key pieces that make this whole system run so smoothly. Well, it all starts at the very beginning, with the request itself. Instead of staring at a blank email and playing a guessing game, employees are guided through these smart digital forms. Just that one simple change makes sure all the right information is collected right from the get-go. No more chasing people for details, no more fixing things later. Okay, so once that form is submitted, the system's brain kicks in. This is where all the automated rules are applied. We're talking about things like pre-approved catalogs, making sure people use preferred suppliers, and getting the cost centers right. All of that is enforced automatically. The system literally checks the request against company policy before a single person even has to lay eyes on it. And now for the final, beautiful piece of the puzzle, the approvals. Seriously, the days of hunting people down for signatures, they're over. The system has a workflow engine that intelligently routes the request to the exact right person based on your own business rules. You know, things like department, how much is being spent, or what budget it's coming from. The right request finds the right person every single time. So let's put it all together. Let's look at the whole automated flow from start to finish. Step 1, a user fills out a request using one of those guided forms. Step 2, the system instantly validates it against all your rules. Step 3, the workflow engine sends it off to the right approver automatically. And Step 4, and this part is so crucial, automated reminders and escalations kick in to prevent any bottlenecks. Nothing ever gets stuck in limbo again. Okay, so we've seen the how, but what about the why? Why does this actually matter? What's the real payoff here for making a change like this? Well, it's all about taking the path to full control, and let me tell you, the benefits are huge.
The transformation is pretty dramatic, and you see it across 3 main areas. First, efficiency just skyrockets because all that manual drudgery is gone. Second, compliance becomes rock solid because your company policies are literally baked right into the system. And third, you finally get complete visibility into spending as it happens, not weeks after the fact.
So what's the bottom line for the business? Well, you get a process that is incredibly efficient, and you get guaranteed policy compliance. That means you strengthen your grip on spending, and you give your leaders the real-time insights they've been asking for to make smart strategic decisions. It frees up your teams from the grunt work, and at the end of the day, it speeds up decision-making for the entire organization.
You know, in the end, it really all comes down to this powerful idea. By standardizing and digitizing the process, organizations build a more transparent and scalable procurement function. It's truly about elevating procurement from just a reactive, day-to-day task to a core strategic part of the business. And that really just leaves us with one final critical question to think about. In a world where speed and control mean everything, the real question isn't if you should automate procurement, it's how long can you really afford not to?